Rate the articles. Christopher Nolan is going to lose a fortune on this movie because of the miscasting, and they all speak English. Learning ancient Greece wasn't in my client's budget. Nolan fans are saying that this is an original movie, and that's not the case. There's already been 2 tellings of this story. Troy, and don't forget the Coen brothers version. I'm a man of constant sorrow, but not no more. I love the Odyssey, but not no more. The Odyssey. Councilman, are you ready for your closing statements? Ladies and gentlemen, and people who haven't picked up a literature book since the Iliad was still in hardcover, I want to remind you that the Christopher Nolan haters have had it wrong for a year now. Nolan haters are up in arms about the race swapping. The last time I checked, Odysseus was an olive-sucking Greek, and Matt Damon was still figuring out where to park his car in Southie Boston. Yet the haters are not complaining about that. The haters will tell you that the critics are all in bed with Hollywood, hence the high praise for the Odyssey, which is ridiculous. Critics aren't in bed with Hollywood. They're sleeping with A24 and Focus Features. The haters complain that they made Helen of Troy black. Well, the source material says that Helen of Troy is beautiful. Congratulations. The defense has accidentally admitted that beauty is colorblind. They complain that Elliot Page was cast as a soldier. Well, newsflash, Elliot Page was in this movie for less time than people spend complaining about her. Objection, not using proper pronouns. Apologies, Your Honor. I just haven't updated my AP style book since Pizza Hut offered all-you-can-eat lunch buffets. Move it along. Elliot Page is barely an extra. You can even say that he's just standing in for Ellen Page's cameo. No one complains that Jeffrey Jones is in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, yet he's the one with the criminal record. The haters complain that the trailer looked boring. And to that, we should all say, finally! They're letting the movie speak for itself. The trailer's job is simply to announce that the film is coming out, not provide Cliff's notes for the movie. Trailers should flirt, not send me their OnlyFans link. This summer's Odyssey is Christopher Nolan finally saying something that he has never uttered once in his professional life. My client watched Troy and said, I want to make a movie that good. And here's the part that he has never said before. He said, but I also want to make it less boring. Ladies and gentlemen, my client, Christopher Nolan, and I have certainly had our quibbles in the past. I don't hide the fact that I am not a big fan of his previous works, with the exception of The Dark Knight. We're not worthy, right? Objection, improbable, because the council is clearly a girl for not liking Christopher Nolan films. Overruled, unless you did the Ellen Page on yourself. 17 years ago, I would have strongly considered that. Just not in the way that you're implying. But I tell you, Christopher Nolan finally made a film that is not a Christopher Nolan film. So while the haters were shitting all over the Odyssey for the past year, language, Mr. Fuggin. It was all in English, Your Honor. That was one of the plaintiff's gripes. And what's funny is that those haters over there at the defense table were throwing massive hissy fits because my client, Christopher Nolan, refused to react to their complaints. And they cried all the more because he chose to ignore them. Well, maybe that's because Christopher Nolan was just too busy crafting the next great epic. His only response to all the haters was to drop this movie into theaters and say, here, Try not to choke on all this awesomeness! He has brought us back to the era of the great fantasy war epic, not unlike Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. Yeah. But he did it, folks. He made epics fun again. Mifa. Coincidentally, that's the sound Christopher Nolan makes when somebody asks him to explain Tenet. That is all. Defense? My hater clients have warranted their suspicion, Your Honor. As of late, Hollywood has been disappointing them time and time again. My clients, the haters, are not the villains. They're the victims of years of Hollywood abuse. They are trauma survivors. And Hollywood did this to them. After years of Hollywood letdowns, let alone a very disappointing summer, my haters aren't being cynical against Mr. Nolan. They're simply pointing out pattern recognition. You can't accuse them of prematurely judging the film. So my haters are only haters by name. Objection. The defense is trying to sound like Malibu's Most Wanted, and it's creepy. I feel like he shouldn't be within 100 feet of me. Sustained. Finish up, Adebayo. Okay. Members of the jury. Have you reached a verdict? I'm obligated by YouTube tradition to ask that you like this video in order to boost my confidence so that I'll make more of these. And I'm also supposed to tell you to subscribe like I'm some sort of puppet master, but I trust you figured out by now what all the buttons do and when to press them, because you're a genius. You're so smart, in fact, that I hope you serve in the jury box the next time I'm apprehended for dancing the Cupid Shuffle in our nation's capital without a permit. Now, if you don't like me, don't subscribe, it's fine, whatever, I'll get over it. But I'll see you the next time YouTube accidentally recommends me to your feed.